Alright, I want to make some videos about the Black Panthers, but this first one is just going to have just a brief description of some things. Alright, first I'm going to talk about Huey Newton. Most people think that he is the most important person in the party. He was able to speak and just put things together in a way that made it look like the future was going to be good for everyone and it was going to look really nice. Like he could just put their movement into a really a beautiful image for everyone. And it wasn't a bad movement. Like, it wasn't violent and racist like everyone thinks. A lot of people think that the Black Panthers are just like kill Whitey. That's not what it was about. And I'll get into that later, but I'm gonna pause for a second so I can put some pictures of Huey Newton real quick. Alright, yeah, that's Huey Newton, and he was really important, but he wasn't like the one that made the Black Panthers or anything. But a lot of people believe that he is. But alright, and then second, Bob Seale. He is the actual founder of the Black Panthers, but the reason people didn't really like to hear what he had to say was he was telling people to kill cops and just shoot people, and he had a reason for it, but it was a real violent message, and that nobody wanted to hear that. But I'll pause now so you can see some pictures of him. Alright, yeah, that's Bob Seale, and he's still alive. Huey Newton is dead, but he's calmed down with the kill the cops side of it, and he still talks about things. So you should look him up and look about what he's about. But before, the reason he was so violent was the police were actually really racist back then, and they were in the black neighborhoods. Just they would hear about a murder and they hear a black man did it, so they would go around looking for the first black man they could find, whether or not he had a gun, and they'd be arresting him, beating him, just doing whatever they could. And I mean, they did everything. Fucking just beat people. They were still lynching and shit back then, just doing crazy. Like in the '60s and stuff, it wasn't completely gone. And then the police were racist as fuck, so they were defending themselves. They were trying to defend themselves, and they were also doing neighborhood projects. They were trying to get the neighborhood together, and they were feeding children and educating them, and they would have a morning program so the kids could eat before school, and dinner programs so they could eat when they got out, and they were educating the neighborhood about stuff and doing a bunch of good things. And another thing they were doing, this is where everybody thinks they were doing bad things. They were walking around with law books and shotguns and AK-47s, but they weren't trying to scare. I mean, they were trying to scare the police, but they weren't trying to do bad things. Back then, the law was that you could carry a firearm in America. You could have a shotgun, an AK-47, any kind of long arm. You could carry it as long as you were not pointing it threateningly at anyone. You were allowed to carry it. So that was the law, and that's what they were doing. They weren't threatening anyone. They were just making sure the police knew that they were serious, because the police were being racist and beating up everybody in their neighborhood. So they had to. They weren't being protected, so they had to protect themselves. And their whole idea was they wanted to police their neighborhoods. So they policed the police. They would follow around the police and make sure they were doing good. And so they wanted to be the own police of their neighborhoods, because it was their neighborhood, so they felt like they should be the police of it. And then they also wanted an all black government so that they could govern themselves and they could make decisions for themselves. And that's when America started making weapons laws, because they started just viewing them as a terrorist movement that was trying to take over the government. But really, they were the people. And our weapon laws today about concealed weapons licenses and stuff are because America was afraid of black people carrying guns. That's why we're not allowed to carry shotguns or AK-47s openly anymore. When the Black Panthers did it, it was completely legal, but they made it illegal because of them. And then the Second Amendment law is actually meant so that the government is afraid of us. That's what it's meant for. The reason we can bear arms is to scare the government. That's what it's for. We shouldn't be barely getting by shooting animals. We're supposed to be storming Capitol buildings whenever the gas prices rise and stuff. And then again, at the end of I'm gonna wrap up the video with the Black Panthers were not a racist movement. Their motto was all the power to all the people, not black people over white people or anything like that. Just all the power to all the people. So that's just my first video on the Black Panthers. I'll get more into detail with everything, but Yeah, that's the Black Panthers.